The American dream, a place to call home, a stable job, a driveway that's actually yours. But for millions of Americans today, that dream is slipping out of reach. Some of the states you'd never expect are facing rising homelessness and poverty at alarming levels. Today, we're counting down the 10 states where the American dream is struggling most. Number 10, Alaska. When most people picture Alaska, they imagine postcard visuals, endless forests, snow-capped mountains reflecting off icy lakes, a moose strolling casually down a quiet road. It looks peaceful, serene, even majestic, but beneath that beauty lies a far harsher reality. Alaska has one of the highest homelessness rates in the country, with around 2,700 people unhoused, translating to roughly 37 homeless residents for every 10,000 people. And unlike warmer states, homelessness in Alaska isn't just about lack of shelter, it could be a fight for literal survival. Living outdoors in Los Angeles or Miami might mean heat or rain. In Alaska, it can mean frostbite overnight. Temperatures routinely fall far below freezing, and exposure becomes a life-or-death issue. Many homeless individuals rely on tents deep in the woods, temporary lean-tos, or vehicles parked wherever they can find a space without drawing attention. Employment opportunities are also limited. Outside of oil, gas, and seasonal industries like fishing and tourism, jobs can be scarce, especially in remote communities. And the cost of living is staggering. Because so many essentials must be shipped in, everything from groceries to gasoline costs more. Families can work full-time and still live on the edge, one broken vehicle or medical bill away from losing everything. Tourists see a dream vacation. Many locals see a wilderness that is stunning, but unforgiving when you don't have a place to call home. Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore is a city of contrasts. Walk a few blocks and you'll pass historic waterfronts, bustling developments, and neighborhoods filled with culture and character. But behind the charm is a reality that's difficult to ignore. More than 26% of Baltimore residents live below the poverty line, meaning 1 in 4 people struggle just to afford food, housing, utilities, or transportation. In early 2022, over 9,000 individuals were experiencing homelessness, sleeping in tents, cars, or improvised shelters. What makes Baltimore's problem so complex is that the problem isn't simply a lack of housing. It's systemic. Generations of underfunded schools, disinvestment in entire neighborhoods, inadequate access to mental health services, limited high-paying job opportunities have created an environment where too many people grow up with limited paths out of poverty. And here's the paradox. Baltimore has resources, hospitals, universities, Fortune 500 jobs, but access is not distributed evenly. In some neighborhoods, new buyers move into renovated row homes paying premium prices. Blocks away, families live in houses with boarded windows or crumbling roofs. Baltimore is a sharp reminder that homelessness is not just a rural problem or West Coast phenomenon. It is right in the middle of modern American cities, sitting next to areas of wealth and success. Now we move from East Coast cities to a state that most Americans associate with paradise, Hawaii. Tourists step off planes to blue water, white sand beaches, Polynesian music, and endless sunshine. But for many locals, Hawaii is becoming impossible to afford. The cost of living here is the highest in the United States, and even stable, full-time jobs often aren't enough. The average one-bedroom apartment in Honolulu costs around $2,500 per month. Two-bedroom units often run $3,500 or more. Groceries, utilities, gas all cost dramatically more than the mainland, and wages don't match the inflation. The results? Around 11,637 Hawaiians experienced homelessness in 2024, translated to 81 out of every 10,000 residents, nearly double the national average. Many unhoused residents live in tent communities hidden from tourist areas, cars parked near beaches, temporary shelters. Some even work full-time while unable to afford housing. Hawaii is proof that homelessness can't exist even in places where the scenery seems idyllic. The postcard version of Hawaii and the lived reality for many locals are worlds apart. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is not usually the first state people think of when discussing economic decline. But quietly, slowly, the Keystone State has been losing population and opportunity. In 2023 alone, more than 10,000 residents left the state, many in search of better job markets, especially younger workers. The fallout ties directly to the long-term decline of manufacturing and coal, industries that once sustained entire cities and towns. Today, the average annual household income hovers around $67,500, enough to survive, but not enough to comfortably keep ahead of inflation and rising housing and utility costs. Around 14,000 Pennsylvanians are currently homeless, many pushed into instability by job losses, chronic underinvestment in infrastructure, an aging housing stock, and limited social support funding. When population declines, tax revenue falls. When tax revenue falls, services shrink. And when services shrink, vulnerable families fall further behind. Many Pennsylvania towns that once thrived with factories, steel plants, and rail depots now face empty storefronts, shrinking school systems, and young adults moving away, creating a feedback loop that makes homelessness more difficult to solve.
Number 6. Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas is a bright symbol of entertainment. Casinos, lights, world-class hotels, international tourism. But behind the Strip, beyond the neon, Vegas is facing a growing housing crisis. Nearly 15% of residents live below the poverty line, and homelessness surged 12% in 2022, bringing the total homeless population to over 10,000 people. Why? A few major reasons. Housing supply has not kept up with demand. Rapid population growth pushed rents through the roof. Many Vegas workers are in lower-paying service jobs. Even workers who spend their days serving tourists inside billion-dollar resorts are sometimes left sleeping in cars, weekly motels, or makeshift shelters. To visitors, Vegas looks wealthy. To thousands of locals, it feels like a widening gap between those who have resources and those hanging on by a thread. Number 5. Louisiana. Louisiana's homelessness crisis has a unique twist. It is shaped not just by economics, but by nature itself. The state already struggles with high poverty, around 18.5%, and average household income of just $53,500, among the lowest in the nation. But Louisiana also sits in the bullseye of hurricanes, flooding, and other natural disasters. Every few years, thousands of residents face temporary housing displacement, property loss, insurance battles, and financial crises. In 2024, around 3,469 Louisianans were homeless, and many live in year-round vulnerability. Some families never fully recover financially after a major storm, and the storms keep coming. Even well-intentioned rebuilding efforts sometimes result in higher insurance rates, properties left unrepaired, homes with mold or storm damage, entire neighborhoods hollowed out. Homelessness in Louisiana isn't just about poverty, it's about living on a constant edge, never fully knowing if the next storm will take everything again. Number 4. West Virginia. West Virginia, almost heaven, according to the famous song, tells a very different story today. The state has been hit by long-term economic decline, especially from the collapse of coal mining. Coal jobs have fallen by over 40%, taking with them stable wages, union support, and generational employment pathways. And as jobs vanished, so did young workers. Many moved out in search of opportunity, leaving the state with one of the oldest median ages in the country, 43.3 years. In 2024, about 1,779 people experienced homelessness, living in abandoned structures, encampments, cars, or rural spaces without access to shelters. The problem isn't just housing, it's demographic shrinkage. When young people leave, tax revenue drops, public services thin, housing deterioration accelerates, businesses close, and communities can't rebuild easily without workers, investment, or population growth. West Virginia's challenge isn't just homelessness, it's how to rebuild entire communities that have been slowly draining for decades. Number 3. Illinois. Illinois is a state full of opportunity. Chicago alone is a global hub of finance, transportation, medicine, and culture. But the state is also facing deep financial pressure. In 2023, more than 33,000 residents left Illinois, many pointing to high state income tax, some of the highest property taxes in America, and a massive $140 billion pension debt crisis. These financial strains bleed into every part of daily life. When states face long-term financial imbalance, social services, the very systems people rely on to stay afloat, often struggle to keep up. Illinois had around 25,832 homeless individuals in 2024, but Chicago's broader homelessness estimate, including doubled-up families, sits closer to 65,000 people. Many families live paycheck to paycheck, and even temporary job loss can push them into housing insecurity. Illinois is a reminder that even states with strong economies can face crises when costs, taxes, and fiscal liabilities pile up faster than solutions.
Number 2, California. California lost about 75,000 residents in 2023, and those who remain are struggling against some of the highest housing prices in American history. Consider these stats. Median home price, nearly $750,000. Rent in major cities regularly exceeds $3,000 per month. Gas, taxes, and utilities all near the top nationally. So what happens when the cost of housing skyrockets faster than wages? California now has the largest homeless population in the United States, with about 187,000 homeless individuals in 2024, 28% of the entire nation's homeless population. And here's the key. This isn't just people without jobs. Many are nurses, teachers, delivery drivers, retail workers who simply cannot afford market rents. California's crisis comes from multiple factors: strict zoning and building limits, decades of underbuilding, population growth, high taxes, resistance from wealthier communities. The result is a housing shortage so extreme that full-time workers can still end up sleeping in vehicles. Number 1, New York. New York tops the list. The state saw the largest population loss in the nation in 2023, roughly 102,000 residents. And financially, the pressure is intense. Second largest homeless population in the U.S., around 158,000 people, 91,000 in New York City alone. State income tax above 10.9%, NYC rents pushing near $4,000 per month, cost of living 50% above the national average. New York has made improvements and expanded shelter access, but the scale of the crisis is overwhelming. Tens of thousands remain in shelters, on trains, in public spaces, or in temporary facilities. The city that millions associate with ambition and opportunity is now equally defined by the struggle to afford a place to sleep. Across the country, homelessness and poverty are reshaping what the American dream looks like. If you've seen these challenges where you live, don't just watch. Stay engaged, like and subscribe to Housing IQ, and let's rethink what a fair shot in America really means.